Welcome to Timberline Bass Podcast, your place for Wisconsin bass fishing and everything outdoors.
Welcome to another episode of Timberline Bass Podcast. Tonight's going to be a special episode. We are going to be talking with the owner and founder of a local tackle company, T&T Tackle. All his baits have been a big part of mine and Dad's repertoire for years. Everything from the trimmer jigs to the flipping jigs, the swim jigs, buzz baits, spinner baits, you name it, he makes it, and it's all top quality stuff. So without further ado, here is Troy Rebeck. How's it going, Troy?
Good, Dalton. Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I've
Means a
really been
lot.
looking forward to doing this. You were my first thought when I started this on, a good local Wisconsin company making quality products and something really everybody in the state I feel should have in their tackle box, whether it's the jigs or buzz baits. Yeah, so we got one more guest. I couldn't imagine doing this interview without my dad, Kurt Scheer. How's it going?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Glad to be here. Known
Good.
Troy for many years. We've done a lot of work together. Done a
Oh
lot
my
of fishing
goodness.
Together.
Absolutely. This is an honor too to be on the show. You've been doing a heck of a job, Dalton, and again, it's an honor to be on here and be working with you.
Well, thank you very much. This is definitely kind of a passion project. So starting out, can you tell us a little bit about the company, how you got started, and kind of what you stand for as a company?
I think like a lot of tackle companies, when they start out, they start off as a hobby. Another friend of mine way back in the day, we were fishing a lot and just you go buy a spinner bait or a buzz bait, and it was still expensive 25, 35 years ago, right? It's like we could do better. We could make better. We could do better. We could save money. And that's what we did. And, the hobby lasted for a little bit, and then lives went on, and I always had that passion to bring it back. And I did. And when the opportunity came, I got the company fired back up again. And just kind of taken on myself and really started focusing on taking a product that was already good, right? And sometimes that 2%, 5%, 10% difference, making it a little bit better, right? And now my main passion, I don't fish as many tournaments as I want to anymore, so it's kind of my way of giving back to the fishing community is making a product that is made here in United States. It's crafted here in Wisconsin, and seeing fishermen out there catching fish with his tackle and, landing personal bests and sending messages saying, you know what, gosh, I've used a lot of swim jigs in the past, or I've used a lot of spinner baits in the past, but for some reason I'm catching more fish on the T&T Tackle spinner bait. And I think that's what drives me to work harder on continuing to stay above the curve.
Yeah, and I would definitely say, I mean, there, like you said, the little tweaks, I would say it's more than 2 or 3% better, but it's the little details. A lot of jigs and stuff you buy off the shelf. You never, I mean, unless they say right on the package, you never really know what you're getting for hooks. I know with yours, it's all mustads, right?
Yeah, the Mustad Ultra Point hooks.
Yep.
You can run those things in the rocks and stumps, and that point doesn't bend over.
Absolutely.
It's a great quality product, and I think you make up a good point that what makes a proper product is just it's everything, all the components of that lure.
Absolutely.
It's from the hook to the type of lead that you're using, to the proper skirt material that you're using, the collar, how it's being processed. I don't cut any corners, and I don't think the fishermen that are are using the tackle deserve to be using a product that had corners cut, just to have something mass produced.
Well, and another little thing too, you don't have to go into how you do or what you do, but the paint on your jigs. A lot of times when we're skipping docks and working them through rocks and stuff, I mean, you get 5, 10 casts or bounce it off a dock or two, and they're normally chipped. And
Yeah,
not that that's the end of the world, but it's nice seeing a jig that can hold up to the way we abuse them.
Well,
it's a great point.
I know Troy can attest. I sent him a picture a few years back. We had just came out with my Kurt's craw color, and I was on a small lake up by Minocqua. Well, actually, a big lake up by Minocqua. It was not Minocqua. I was up there with my wife Gail, and I spent the whole day skipping docks for largemouth, and I sent him a picture of the jig at the end of the day. And remarkably, I had a good day where I didn't lose any jigs. So I actually caught 75 largemouth on one jig. I sent him a picture. There was probably 5 strands of skirt material left,
Yeah,
and the jig head didn't have a chip in the paint.
no,
I mean, it was
in the picture you're seeing right now, obviously is not that picture, but that is the
No,
color that is
right,
Kurt's
right.
craw.
right.
Yep.
But to attest, that head was all dented in, all over
Mhm.
the place from skipping docks and hitting rocks and getting run over by props. Who knows what you were doing with it? But you're right. There was a half a dozen skirt material strands left on there. It was beat up, and
Yeah.
there
And
was
didn't have a
not
chip in the
any
paint.
powder paint that was off of it. And without giving too many secrets away, there's powder paint that you can go buy at hobby stores. There's powder paint that you can go buy at lure parts online, right?
Yep.
That's not the powder paint that I use. The powder paint that I use is true automotive quality powder paint, powder coating. And a lot of jig manufacturers, a lot of other companies out there still use the powder. They'll use powder paint, they'll dip it, they'll bake it, but it doesn't quite as adhere to the lead material like a true industrial strength and industrial grade powder coat will.
Yep.
And
Um,
I've been in Troy's shop when he's been painting them, and it's a meticulous process that he does, and it works. I
Okay.
mean, it's just phenomenal how it comes out.
It goes back to
um,
when I talked about not cutting any corners, right?
yep.
Correct.
The process is, I mean, Dalton, you did machining work for a long time, right?
Yep.
Um, in a process that takes from A to Z, in a process sorry, the phone went off, but a process that would happen from A to Z, if you skip some of those steps in between, are you going to end up with a product that a customer wants?
Oh,
It's going
absolutely
to
not.
last. No, it's
And
not. So,
skipping steps and cheaping out definitely reflects in a finished product.
right.
Um,
Definitely.
while we're on the subject of the skipping jigs, I'll be honest, I throw them straight out of the package the way they are. But I mean, do you have any tips for trimming skirts, monkeying with weed guards? Like I said, I
I
genuinely do
do.
not
Yeah.
believe it needs any modification, but
Hey, I got to ask, can you pause real quick? We can edit this out.
yes.
Yeah. So with the modifications you were talking about with skirts and uh, even brush guards, there's what I always tell people to do is trim it how you like it, how you want it. Old school way is you pull back the weed guard, push it back, trim it off about a quarter inch above the top of the hook. Um, with the skirts, I'll be honest. You guys can chime in if you want, but I think majority of the fishermen out there on the skirt length is grabbing the jig out of the package, tying it on,
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
working.
Sometimes
don't.
I'll go for more of a spider jig look, rarely if you want to be a little bit more finessey, but it's
Mhm.
once in a blue moon. And honestly, the way we use the jigs, the heavy stuff we're throwing them in, I see no need in trimming that brush guard. I have never had an issue pinning the fish the way it is.
I I
And one
I was
thing, and go ahead.
I was heavily involved with Troy in designing the skipping jig, anyways. And we talked about going with a lighter weed guard, not going super heavy. Um, and to be honest with you, with other jig companies, I always trimmed my weed guard down at the hook point.
Yep.
Um, with Troy's with TNT jigs, I do not. I guess if tournament situation on tournament day, if they seem to be biting a little bit light, I may take it and trim a little bit of the weed guard material out completely. Um, Knock the strand numbers down a little bit. Skirt material wise, I never trim them. Troy does a fantastic job of trimming them at a good length. I don't normally have an issue with
Yeah,
any fish short
exactly.
striking because of skirt length. So, really, with his jigs, I would say you have a lot of companies that produce a product that they'll have two different products. They'll have your standard jig or your standard bait, and then they come out with an elite series or a tournament series. With Troy's, you don't have to worry about that. They're all
Right.
elite series. They're all tournament ready tackle.
And that's a great point. Is that's that extra steps that are taken. So yes, these skirts are pre-trimmed to what we feel is a great average, right?
Yep.
Where you don't have to trim them if you don't want to. Based on if you're using a chunk craw or using a full craw trailer or some type of a trailer, it's still not going to interfere with the skirt tabs in the back. You're still going to be able to get that action. And that's typically why you have to trim it, is that's too long and it's interfering with the action of your trailer. The
Correct.
skirt tabs, yes, you are correct. In the flip-in jig, the flip-in jig primarily was designed because, Kurt, you love docks. You love
Yep.
skipping docks.
No secret.
Okay. Are we finding a lot of brush piles under the docks? No, we're really not.
Not
Typically,
normally.
there could be out the corners, because you got people that are fishing for crappie, panfish, right?
Correct.
Down south, they're calling them brim.
Yep.
They're typically out front off the corners. So you can take that lighter weed guard and you're skipping it underneath there and it's still going to come over and through the crossbars.
Yep.
I don't want to give up. Yeah, I'm probably giving up a little bit of a secret, but even on the weed guard, if you spread it, if you
Exactly.
widen it out, right?
I was just
Yeah.
going to say, if I'm fishing something heavier or run into brush piles, I just take the weed guard and spread it out, fan it out, and that will
Fan it.
protect your hook.
Well,
It
and
is.
that's one thing I really want to point out too. Like, it's called a skipping jig, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, that is my do all, do everything jig. I will throw that out in the middle of nowhere on rock piles, points. I will throw it right in trees. I will bury that jig in some of the nastiest crap, and I have no worries of it not coming through. I mean, with that flat head design, it helps guide it, through branches, through rocks. That weed guard does such a good job of deflecting the hook point away. That's the only. I don't even know how to say it. That style of jig I use. Like, my other categories are swim jigs and vibrating jigs, and
Yeah.
I've got a handful of football heads, but I don't hardly ever use them because that's my do all terrain jig.
And absolutely correct. And if anybody has a chance and wants to go on the website and pick some up, you're going to notice that the lead comes up a little bit further on the head. It
Correct.
covers up the eyelet, right, a little bit more than other type of jig heads out there. So as it tapers back in towards the eye of the jig, it allows it to deflect off the cover and come around if you're skipping the docks, the cross members, the crossbars.
Well,
It allows it to hit it, right itself as it comes around, and stay in a vertical position. I think that's the key. The jig will stay in a vertical position after it hits structure.
Well, and the big thing we talked about when you were designing this jig also was the fact that I wanted a horizontal line tie, which helps
Mhm.
lift the jig straight over obstacles. The other
Yeah.
thing was when you brought up having the lead poured up around the eye, when you're skipping a jig, the biggest issue you have is your line, the knot will go off to one side of the jig.
Yep.
And immediately when you pick the jig up, the jig is going to turn.
Yeah.
With your jig, you don't have to worry about that. The line always stays in the middle because it can't go completely off to one side. So you're
Yep.
immediately when you pick it up, you're getting a straight lift.
Yeah. You're 100% correct. Absolutely. And I think a big point now also on the jigs that are made by TNT Tackle, the buzz baits, the swim jigs. It's a process that a lot of people don't talk about, and I'm not afraid to share it because I think the more people that know about it will create interest. They can give them a try on their own. It's how the jigs are it's how they're being made, and it's a spin cast process. And with spin casting, it gives you a much more balanced lure. It'll run truer, run straighter. Hand pouring's great. I mean, there's thousands of people out there that are hand pouring their own jigs in their basement, their garage, in their living room, the kitchen, right?
Yep.
They're using a lead that they're getting down the street at a tire place, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Or they have a friend that's a plumber and they're taking lead out of a building. There's a lot of impurities in that. And when
Yep.
you smelt it down, if you're not smelting it down well enough, right, you're causing imperfections or voids in that lead when you're pouring it. Air bubbles, pockets, it becomes grainy, right? So if you can use your imagination, you can let's say, take a slice of bread, right? You cut a slice of bread and it's kind of porous, right?
Yep.
You see the holes, the indentations, all right? Now if you cut a piece of glass, you cut a piece of steel, that's going to be very smooth after you cut it. So same thing with the lead, right? So if you're going to hand pour your jig, there's going to be a graininess, porous in the imperfections in that lead head. Now with being spin cast, you're able to use a lead that's got an alloys added to it, right? Which makes it harder, makes it more dense, gives you more sensitivity.
Yeah.
Now when you're using these lures, these jigs, it's giving you sensitivity that's close. I'm not going to say exact. Nothing's ever going to be the same as tungsten, but it's closer towards the tungsten.
Yep.
It's harder. It's more sensitivity, more feedback. So when a fish grabs onto it, obviously you have your good quality line. But if you're working it through rocks, weed lines, skipping it under docks, and you can feel that, hey, I'm coming across some rocks or boulders or gravel, or I'm coming over the top of a cross member on a dock. If you don't have good sensitivity, what's your reaction? I'm setting the hook.
Right.
Right.
And now you just got hung up.
Well,
So
and
if it's
that
easier
brings
now
up
for you to detect the bite, you're going to catch more fish. So spin casting using the proper alloy of lead creates a smaller, denser profile. It's going to run truer, run straighter, and more balanced.
Well, and that brings up another good point too. Like, I think for the very little bit of sensitivity you lose compared to tungsten, I think what you gain is so much more because, a 3/8 jig poured or made in tungsten, I mean, that's what makes tungsten great is the density in relation to the size of the material you have. Well, to me, part of what makes your skipping jig skip so well is the surface area and the shape of the head. When I'm looking
That's
for a
correct.
rock to skip, I'm looking for a very specific shape and a very specific size, and that's how I see the head of that jig. So I don't think the equivalent in a tungsten jig would skip near as well.
You're right. It wouldn't, and
You're
you're
right.
going to get stuck in the crevice of the rock with
Yeah.
that smaller
Yep.
profile. And would you rather lose a $5 jig or a $9 jig, $10 jig?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the other thing I really want to point out too with Troy's jigs at TNT Tackle. Um, I have never worn a jig out. I've never had one where the hook point is so dull or it's falling apart. The only time I retire a jig is when it's buried in a stump or a a rock somewhere.
Yep. Yep.
And I've caught hundreds of fish. There's been times I've gone a whole month with one jig tied on my rod, and never once have I ever had to cut them off because, like I said, they fell apart or the hook point's dull. It's just not a thing.
Right.
Uh, how many jigs have you purchased? Now, I know there's individuals out there that will only buy jigs that are hand tied. And hand tying's great, right? I know, Kurt, sometimes when you're skipping hard under docks, you'll tie a little bit of braid on there just to kind of hold a little bit tighter.
Braid or
But
wire
let's talk
tie.
about it. Yeah, or wire tie, right? You just put
Yep.
one couple twists on there, you're good to go.
Yep.
Another benefit of using spin cast is that the collar section on these jigs it's more pronounced, and there's a lip on there
Yep.
that when I put the skirt collar on or an O-ring, and on all these skirt collars and O-rigs are UV and oil resistant, so I spend the extra money on getting higher quality product. I don't have these jigs don't come, the skirts don't come off
No.
when you're skipping. So Dalton, based on what you say, you could have a whole week or a whole month of the jig tied on there. How many fish have you caught? And the skirt still on there, whether it's even a dozen strands left or still,
And that's just it.
the full body, it's not coming off.
Right.
Yep. I was kind of telling the story to Troy and Kurt before we started the show. I've got 2 jig boxes. I've got my jig box that stays in the front of the boat with my TNT jigs. Them are my, I wish I could say just tournament day jigs, but I don't cheap out on them in practice either. But then I've got my jig box for when my buddies are fishing with me or if my kids fishing with me. And the thing I get a kick out of, them jigs have been in there so long. Every time I go to tie one on for my boy, I got to dig through them because half the skirt collars are rotted off on them, and I end up tying on one of your jigs anyways. But that is, yeah. In the last how many years, I've bought hundreds of jigs from you. I mean, literally, my jig box is probably the most expensive box in my boat. I have a Plano Edge jig coffin box, and the thing is stacked so full of jigs that the lid doesn't even close. It's so freaking bowed and heaved, and some of them jigs have probably been in there since I first started buying from you, just because I don't cycle them out like a normal human being, because you don't have to worry about it. They don't go bad.
They're not falling right. They're not. There's no expiration date on these things.
No.
Right?
I lose my jigs from stupidity on the cast is how I lose all my jigs.
Not retying and things like that.
Right. I mean, anybody that knows me, I put jigs in places on a dock that the even above average person will not put a jig. And every now and again, you're just not looking, paying attention. You hit a chain, or you get it caught on a cross member. You get it caught on a bolt that shouldn't be there on a bolt lift, and that's how you lose them.
100%.
The only drawback I can say with your jigs is when you bounce one off a pontoon, they make one hell of a noise.
It wakes up the neighborhood, doesn't it?
Yes,
yep,
it
I got to
does.
hurry up and kick the trolling motor on 10 and get the hell out of there because
You don't want to be found on one of those videos that show up on social media with the Kenra Karens.
yeah, no, I'm good. I
yelling at
try
you
to avoid that.
Yeah.
Going back to the question you asked about, why is it TNT tackle jigs different? I think it's also the colors that we offer as
Absolutely.
well. I spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time, and I say we, it's everybody that I work with who purchases TNT tackle products. It's like one TNT tackle family. I'm always asking for feedback. The colors that are on the website, some of them are designed just because you got to have them, right? People are buying them. So if they're buying something, you're going to make that color. You're going to, or create that color, copy that color, whatever you want to call it, right? But there's other colors on there, on that website, that you hear people talk about matching the hatch, right?
Yep.
Are they feeding on craw? Are they feeding on shiner? Are they feeding on whatever, right?
Yep.
So there's been a lot of time, a lot of research. I've spent many, many of hours on multiple rivers around the area, Clearwater lakes in Wisconsin, grabbing pictures of crawfish, right? Catching bluegill, catching perch, looking at all the different colored variations, and then turning that into a skirt,
Yep.
and making the colors as realistic as possible. Now, there's some colors out there that are just perfect the way they are. I'm going to say it's, Kurt's Craw is one of them. It's designed that way for a reason. But if you buy it, you will notice there's some differences in the colors. It's not quote unquote standard. Is it green pumpkin and blue? Yeah, green pumpkin with blue. But all I got to say is you just got to pick some up and try them, and you'll see the difference of what it looks like.
If you
So we
look
talk
at it,
about
it's a different green pumpkin and a different blue, and
yes.
the heads are a special color. And
100, yes, you're correct. And what I've found over the years, I use a lot of different manufacturers, right? Get the product from a lot of different places. The majority of stuff is here in the States, but obviously in today's world, you can't buy everything in the United States. But I have options out there where I can buy different skirt material from a lot of different companies, and I can get colors that match exactly what we want to put out there on the market. And custom colors is another thing. I have a lot of people who will send me a picture here. Can you kind of match this? I'm looking for something similar. I'm not a big person on trying to match things exactly,
Yep.
but I will put my own twist on it and say, listen, I think you should try this. And I'm going to say, 9 times out of 10, they like it better.
Yep. Well, that's one thing I
Because-
got to say too. I'm notorious for it. I get a hair up my ass, and I'll call you out of the blue, and can I get a swim jig in this color? Can I get a flipping jig in this color? And you're always really good at talking through it with me and finding a way to even improve on it a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's my job, and that's what with this company, that I feel that's my job again, is giving back to the fishermen. I want you to go out there as a purchaser of TNT tackle product and go catch fish and say, this, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the taglines, as you go to the website, the taglines that I have, you can see right here, it says stop fishing, start catching.
Yep.
What's the best way to do that? Use a proper lure, use some tackle that has been tested.
Yep.
It has been running. I've taken these things down to the river, to the lake around my house, and see what these things look like underwater. Because these jigs, a lot of this tackle you buy in the store, it doesn't look the same underwater. You run it in tannic water compared to brackish water, compared to muddy water or silty water or clear water. It changes color, and then depth too. So all that stuff is taken in consideration when designing these colors.
Oh, and that's a big thing too, dabbling with painting a little bit. A lot of times when we want something a little different, I mean, there's tricks and stuff you can do with pearls and all sorts of stuff that you get one look in clear water, one look in tannic water.
Yeah.
And, I definitely feel like that attention to detail is present in your jigs, and that's not something you see in most jigs.
I think you can pull up one example. You can take a look at the our master shad color for one. I think you got it on your.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, take a look at it. Be honest. Does that look like a realistic shad?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, too, even the attention to details with getting the skirting material to kind of look like, I don't know if it's a lateral line on the shad, but to take the time to tie that where it needs to be. It's not just thrown on there.
Another one, I think you got a picture of it, is, well, let's talk about the buzzbait. You got it up there, right? So Not all buzz baits, believe, are created equal. The bottom of the head of this buzz bait's flat, so it really allows it to stay higher in the water column
At a
um,
slower speed.
at a
Yeah.
slower speed. The blades are a little bit bigger than I would say that you would get. This one does not have any of the enhancements that I do to it now. I won't give up those little enhancements that I do, but if you do buy a buzz bait from us, it'll have those enhancements, and you'll tell a difference. The wire on these is not standard buzz bait wire. It'll allow it to throw some more vibration.
Yep.
You know, a lot of individuals like the squeakers, the clackers, whatever they're putting on there, right? Some of them are really, really good. I can make those, but I think majority of the time, 9 out of 10 buzz baits that are made don't have I don't have the clacker on there. They're not ordered with the
Right.
clacker. Why? Because these buzz baits throw out a lot of vibration. So when you throw this out there, you can bring it back at a slow speed. You can bring it back at a fast speed, and this buzz bait is going to wobble side to side. And when it wobbles side to side, it throws out a vibration in the water. And all of us out there know that bass pick up on vibration with their lateral line, right? They can zone on it for, I don't know, what is it, 50 feet, 100 feet, 20
Wow.
feet.
Yep.
And all you want them to do is to attract their attention, because, bass are opportunistic fish. They don't have hands. So in order to figure out what it is, they got to put their mouth
Put it in
on
their
it.
mouth.
They're both. Yep.
So that's all we want them to do, is we want them to react.
Well,
So
and
that-
one thing I want to say too, Troy's humble and he's not going to say this, but when we were at the Bassmaster Classic, I'm not going to mention the angler, but I did happen to see these buzz baits in a professional angler's boat, and it was more than just one.
Yeah.
So
you
that
got me on
speaks
that
for
one.
itself.
Yeah.
Um,
You're
and then we
100%
can kind
correct.
of
Yeah.
do a comparison here because you have two styles of buzz bait.
Yeah. Yep. This is the buzzing toad. It's very popular nowadays of being able to throw a plastic, a horny toad, or any type of a soft plastic toad on the back of it.
A lot of guys are
think
even throwing a swim bait on them.
Yep,
swim bait,
big old
absolutely, a
paddle
shad
tail.
bait,
Yep.
something, a paddle tail.
Yep.
You can throw you can put a craw. Believe it or not, I put 4.5-inch craws on the backside of these things. I shouldn't be giving up that secret, but
Rage tails, there's all kinds of stuff you can throw on them that give them a little bit different action and a little bit different splash and different sound.
if you throw a craw on the backside of this, like a rage craw or a fighting craw or something like that, just imagine how slow you can work this buzzbait. And if you watch a lot of videos on guys fishing buzzbaits, they're ripping it back at Mach 10. It's fast. It's quick. Try it someday. I don't care whose buzzbait you got. If I'm lucky enough, you purchase some TNT Tackle buzzbaits and you give it a try. But slow it down and just let this thing gurgle
Yep.
under the water.
Yeah.
And let the tail create a bunch of action. And some of the explosive blow-ups that you get on this is amazing. It's like someone flushing a toilet bowl. Just whoosh, and it's gone.
Absolutely. You're giving away
and-
secrets, Troy.
I
Another
know.
one,
It's tough not to, but I really passionate about helping people trying to catch more fish.
Yep.
Another one I'll kind of give away, and it's not really, it shouldn't be a secret. Guys have been doing it for years. But, I've got one of them little Milwaukee fans that I keep in the garage for drying out my boat after it rains. And anytime I get a thing of new buzz baits, I will go through and stick the buzz baits to something so they're standing straight up, and I will leave that fan running on them all night.
Yeah.
And when I get up and go out in the morning, every one of them blades freaking squeals and screeches, and that's what I like.
And it's nice. And there's some enhancements that I do on these buzz baits with Well, that's kind of one of them that I'll pre-tune them. Where you don't have to spend all that extra time out there. Back in the day, Kurt, when we were fishing,
Time to the car antenna.
tie them to the car antenna. People would look at you crazy. Sometimes I think they stayed on there too long because we had to drive too far, and then the rivet wore out, and then the
Blade
just fell off the back.
It's kind of like the whole fading a crankbait on the dash of the truck too. That was a big thing.
Yeah, now guess what? You can buy them pre-faded. Isn't that crazy how that comes back around?
It's like pre-ripped jeans.
And people paying money for that.
Yeah. Which one would you like to talk about next, Troy?
Well, let's do something that was created here for the Mississippi River out of La Crosse. I know a lot of you probably listening to this podcast have heard about the Mississippi River and La Crosse and all the big tournaments that are out here, and a lot of the pros and stuff that love to come here, and they're catching 150 fish a day. But yet the weights are still coming in anywhere from 16 to 20 pounds a day. And these tournaments all year long. So spinner baits, right? Let's talk about a smallie special that was created. This is something, more secrets. I'm sorry, guys.
Here, you carry the show just for a minute. I'm going to go grab something. Keep talking.
You bet. So, like I said, with every one of the jigs, the color selections that I make, the combinations, I test it in the waters around here. So if you have not thrown copper in tannic water, it's tannic acid from tamarack trees. It starts up in the far birthplace of the Mississippi River and flows all the way down. Even a lot of the in Wisconsin, we got a lot of flowages, right? And it goes through cedar swamps and stuff like that. So it's got this caramel color to it. Copper throws off a really cool color in tannic water. It's absolutely amazing. If you're not throwing copper in tannic water, please start. And then if you look at the skirt on this, it's kind of a cross between a really good croc color, right? A bright panfish color, or even a perch color.
Absolutely.
And it's got the black head. So I don't know about a lot of our listeners, but I will throw it just as you see it, no trailer.
And right there, that is what I went to get. Speaking of trailers, you and I had a conversation the other night. I'm going to pop this off for just a second. Here, I'm going to pull myself up full screen.
Let me guess. This is probably going to be the only trailer that I'd really ever put on a spinnerbait if I did put a trailer on.
Here, I'll even open the package and pull one out. So this is like the OG, not for that color, but, the OG spinnerbait trailer.
It's the split tail trailer. Used it for years.
And they have unfortunately kind of disappeared, but there is a couple companies now trying to bring them back. I heard Bass Pro Shops bought Man's Bait, so the original will be coming back. But these are the Zoom ones, and I would highly recommend. They've got so many colors. Tying in and matching with Troy's spinnerbaits, that is the absolute perfect trailer for them.
I agree. And, I'm going to ask the question you guys and ask our listeners, and, you can comment when this gets posted is, why do you think that us three on here, feel that type of trailer is the best to use on a spinnerbait? I don't think we need to say anything, but we can have individuals comment.
Yep.
Well, I guess all I can say is if you haven't tried it, try it.
Yeah. If you're going to throw a trailer, a split tail is all you need.
And I would even argue that those would be phenomenal on the tremor jigs.
They are, yes. maybe one tip is you take that and you rig it vertically.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm going to leave it at that. So instead of having the legs horizontally side by side, put them one on top of each other. So just use your imagination as the vibrations coming through the water, and you're getting that side to side action on what those two legs are going to be doing.
Yep. Now I
Thank you,
got an
Slater.
interesting one for you.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of debate. Where do you stand on a trailer hook? You know, especially on the Mississippi River and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a great question. There are times that I will use a trailer hook, and it's only when I do go out and fish a tournament, when water's a little bit cooler, right? A little bit colder. And I am what it's called burning a spinnerbait. So
Yep.
burning a spinnerbait is bringing it in so where the blades are just underneath the surface and creating a little bit of a bulge under the water.
Yep.
And the fish are coming up over that newly grown vegetation, right? That's maybe a foot or so under the water, and they're sitting in there staying warm, right? And they're going to come up out of the vegetation. They're going to come out of the structure, and they are going to attack this spinnerbait, buzzbait. And it's a reaction strike. So having there's trailer hooks out there that you can buy in the market. And again, this is just my stand on it, is you don't need to be putting on a 4/0, 5/0 trailer hook. Too big.
Yep.
My number one trailer hook that I put on is a 2/0. It's just, here's the reason why, because I think if you get too big of a hook, two reasons is your spinnerbait, your buzzbait's not going to track back properly, not going to react properly. And if a fish does engulf it, swallow the whole bait, you have a really good chance of gut hooking at the back, back of the, they're kind of their crunchers are back there, right? They're where their throat, and get it stuck back there or in the gills, or worse yet, if they slash it from the side, tongue hooking them.
Yep.
And the fish may die. So I just found over the years that a 2/0 for me works the best.
And
I'll agree with that. My only difference on the river, I normally don't throw a trailer hook. On the river, I'm normally throwing it when it's a little bit colder. But I do throw a spinnerbait a lot in clear water for smallmouth, and that is where burning a spinnerbait is essential. You don't want them to get a good look at it. So with smallmouth, and I'm going to give away a little bit here, but on a windy, cloudy day, we burn a double willow leaf spinnerbait fast enough that it just does not break the surface. So I like a half ounce spinnerbait, burning it as fast as you can reel it so it doesn't break the surface. Then I will run a trailer hook, simply because the fish are coming up at 100 miles an hour and just hitting it.
And isn't that great? Because we all have our own little technique on when or how we use a trailer hook, and none of them are wrong. Right. So I think if anything that your listeners can take from this is, you got to get out there and try different things and figure out what works best for how you fish.
Yeah.
Correct.
A good point to that. Look at Rick Clunn. He's pretty famous for the popper, right? I'm pretty sure that's the popper bait. He's synonymous with. The reason he did so good with it is because he found his own way of doing it. He did not throw that bait the way it was intended. Well, that's 90% of guys with 90% of these baits. They are not using it what the package says you should use it for a lot of the times.
Correct.
You're right.
You have to find your own niche.
You do, 100%. And these, speaking of these spinner baits as well, these wires are a little bit smaller than standard. Do they bend up easier, guys? Yeah, they do. You catch more fish on them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Would you rather catch 10 fish on a spinner bait and have it trashed than throwing another spinner bait with a stiffer wire and you're catching maybe two? I would. It's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
throw out more. It's going to throw out more vibration, and allows us to put on a little bit smaller blades.
Yep.
A touch smaller blades, and it just gives some amazing action.
Well, and that's the thing too. You can pretty much do them in any bait or blade configuration somebody wants. Correct?
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, I have the copper blades. I have gold blades. I got 24 karat plated gold blades. I got brass plated blades. I got nickel blade coated blades in willow leaf and Colorado and you name it.
Yeah.
A lot of
Indiana
different
blades are
I have
very popular.
Indiana blades. I really didn't want to say that, but you snuck it out there. You can see on that Smalley Special picture that we were looking at, it's dual Indiana blades. It's my number one favorite blade to throw.
And you can do like turtleback and stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So just because you see something on the website, it doesn't mean you have to order the picture that you see. You can always put a note on the website and say, hey, can you do a single turtleback blade? Can you do a single Colorado number 5? I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I can do painted blades. If you want a black blade, you want an orange blade, you want a yellow blade, I have them. And so I can customize it. It's just,
And that's a big thing people need to take away too. That's, to me, the beauty of working with a local company like you. It's not just a me and dad thing. Pretty much anybody can get a hold of you and say, this is what I want. You're more than happy to listen and more than happy to help,
yes.
And that's something you don't get from a big box bait. It's just not.
No, you're right. And I've had people send me a copy of a jig from down south and say, here, match it. Obviously, pictures work well, but if you send the actual jig, I'll take good care of it. I'll make sure you get it back. But with probably the 500 to 600 different, I'm just looking back over here. Wish you guys could see it, but I have probably 500 to 600 different colors and variations that I can go through and try to match what you need.
Yeah.
Probably put a little better twist on it.
Yeah.
And I'll say, usually what I'll do is I'll try to match what you give me, and then I'll throw 1 or 2 more in there and say, hey, this is my little spin on that. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got one last picture to pull up here, and this is probably the most begrudging one to do because this one gives a little bit away. I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna pop a different one up first. Not the exact jig, but the color. It's a pretty special color, and this is kind of the reason why. That's a 4-pound, 15-ounce largemouth I caught last Sunday, and I fishing around. I started out throwing regular black and blue. It just was not the ticket, and you'll see here in a second that little bit of a difference and a little bit of a variation on what we could all agree is an industry standard color, right? Black and blue. I mean, everybody's got it. Everybody has it in their tackle box. A little bit of a variation can make a huge difference. So without further ado, we'll pop this one up here. And if you want to give us an explanation, Troy.
I think you've done a heck of a job already, and I know your dad can vouch for it a lot, but this is probably one of the most popular colors now with TNT tackle. Once people try it, is our triple berry. Black, blue, and purple. It's a little bit different hues of blue, a little bit different hues of purple. We can fish this in different situations, different lighting, different watercolor. Somebody say it's probably an all-purpose color, but they'll say, well, I don't want to throw that. I would rather throw like a green pumpkin or something. But I don't know about you guys, but you can throw this color in anything. How many fish have
Wow.
you caught on this color in clear water?
Lots. A
Why?
lot.
You know, why do you think this works? I mean, because there's a, gosh, guys, I wish I could show a picture of, I have a box on my desk across the room, and it's probably 10 inches wide, 12 inches deep, and probably 6 inches tall, 8 inches tall, cardboard box. It's full of skirts, pre-made skirts that are already made, skirts that have never made it to the market. There's probably 5 or 6, 7 different variations of this color in that box until it got settled on this. So it's just got enough flash. The sun will catch it. So if you are fishing that murky water, and
Yeah,
you're doing
definitely.
something a little, it's going to catch that sun. The sun is still going to make it down just because you can only see a foot
Yeah.
or two down visually with your eyes. The sun's going down further than that. The light is getting down there a little bit further. So if you're working a swim jig like you should, or any type of bait where you're not doing a straight retrieve and it's a little bit of a twitch, a little bit of a pause, hitting that skirt, the flare, something on this jig or any of the skirts that I make, it's going to catch that light, and it's going to create a strike, and you just better hold on.
Well, and
It's
another big thing, I hate to give it away. I mean, it's been mentioned on other podcasts and stuff, but fish notice contrast. And where at the base of this jig, it, essentially started out as a black and blue with that little bit of extra special. Um, Sometimes, and I don't know why, but I'll notice if the bite starts to slow down, rather than running the typical black and blue trailer with it, I'll throw a green pumpkin trailer on with it. That
yeah,
contrasting color
yeah.
sometimes is the ticket.
You're absolutely great, right? Because if you want to create a larger profile bait, run a matching color on your jig, on your swim jig, whatever you're using, right? It creates a larger profile. If you want to make it look like one bait fish is chasing another bait fish, use the contrasting colors.
Yep.
Correct.
There's I don't have it. I don't have one laying around here. I was looking real quick, but there's since we're giving away secrets, let's give away another one. If you come to the website and you buy some of this color, whether it's in a swim jig, whether it's in a flipping jig, try white. Put a white trailer on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't explain it. I'm not a fisheries biologist, but it catches fish. Put a white craw on the back of a skipping jig or one of the flipping jigs that I have. Put a white minnow, a white small minnow trailer on the back side of this, and have that contrast, and you'll see a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess at the end of the day, don't be afraid to try new things. We all have.
I mean, think about a year and a half ago when the Koike came out, seeing him in tackle stores. Every one of us was looking at him, pointing and laughing, thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. Well, it kind of turns out we're the dumb ones because that's a thing.
Yeah, they can't keep them in stock. So it's
Um,
as you can see, it's just that little spin, that little difference. 10% different
yep.
between your standard your black and blue. This color's been around for as long as I can remember, right, Kurt? Black, blue, and purple.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's ever gone
35
away.
years ago.
Yeah, so it's you can go out there right now on the interweb and see articles that are written about, hey, the new color, new craze instead of green pumpkin is black, blue, and purple. It's not new. It's been around for a long time. It's just coming back.
Yep. Long time.
Well, and that's one thing people. Granted, I mean, we do occasionally see new ideas when the Cinco came out, that was a relatively new idea. Stuff like the Koike ball is another good example, kind of a freak oddball thing. But at the end of the day, if you start digging into the history, go to one of the antique bait shows. That there's bigger down south, not so much in Wisconsin, but there is no new ideas under the sun. I mean, everything we do is standing on the shoulders of our fathers, whether we like to admit it or not. It's all been done before.
Chatterbait was made back, I believe it was in the 50s one came out.
Yep.
And it just didn't take off.
Right.
You're 100%. Some of the individuals out there may have remember the torpedo
Yep.
spinner bait that was Bass Pro Shops, right? I think it was called the torpedo.
Yep.
Just a cool blade, had a little, almost like a bell on the backside of it.
Yep.
And now people are selling them for $50 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's different again. It creates a different noise, a different vibration, something
I remember
different.
the old tri-wing plastic chartreuse blade buzz baits that
Yeah.
Bass Pro had.
Yeah.
They were phenomenal back in the day. Now companies are coming back out with them.
Yeah. So that's why we always try to, being I'm going to say small builder, but a local builder that you can ship throughout the United States, always trying to stay ahead of the curve, right? I'm taking these colors out and using them in the local waters and having other people that try them in the southern parts of the states, eastern part of the states, western part of the states, and always trying to make those small enhancements just to make it better. Again, it's my passion to get tackle and lures in people's hands that catches fish,
Yeah.
right?
And I want to apologize. I kind of did a little bit of an injustice to this picture. I focused on the color. The point of this picture was not necessarily the color. I got to say the C4 swim jigs that you do, they're such a good, again, they're kind of my all-terrain swim jig. If you look close at the shape of that head, the radius it kind of has at the bottom, that works really good when you're trying to bring it through wood, brush piles, trees. It really doesn't hang up. And then if you look at it head on, the head has almost got kind of a chisel shape to it, which makes it absolutely phenomenal for coming through grass. And I mean, if we're being honest, normally there's like, well, the typical swim jig, I think we could all agree, typically comes down to like 2 or 3 head shapes. You've either kind of got the bullet point or more of a bigger, I don't even know how to explain it, not a bullet, more flat bottom to come over brush and stuff. I think you've found an absolute perfect marriage between the two with this swim jig head.
It's simple. It's simple, but yet it's effective, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's still,
Yes.
it skips really good for a swim jig for getting under docks and stuff. Sometimes that's a thing. Like I said, I run grass with it. I fish it around trees. There's really not anywhere I won't throw these.
And you're right. It'll come through if you're going to skip it down in some laydowns, even some overhang. We have a lot of, in some of the rivers, there's willows that overhang on the river, right? You can throw it right down in the willows branches and it'll come right through there.
Correct.
You got to, again, the right rod, right technique, but you can work this right through the willows. You can buck brush. You can work it right through there.
Your bullet shaped ones don't do that. Your bullet shaped ones will roll on their side and get snagged right away.
And yes, and being spin cast as well, it's going to stay balanced and to stay vertical for you.
Yep.
And
another good attention to detail too in the manufacturing process is the weed guard on this one. It looks really similar to the skip and jig, but it's definitely a softer, still stiff enough. It keeps you deflecting the hook point, but it's soft enough when a fish comes up and grabs it, you really don't have to set the hook with these. You just kind of lean into them and keep reeling. It does what a good swim jig should do.
Yep.
They pretty much
And-
set the hook on themselves.
No, this one here is designed, it's a 4-aught ultra point mustad hook. Weed guard comes out on these a little bit longer than it should be, but it allows you to trim it, right? Or you can fan them down.
Yeah.
Based on how you're fishing it. So some of the viewers may say, well, look at that lead guard, it's super long. It's made so you can trim it.
Yeah.
Right?
And honestly, again, this is another one I grab right out of the package and throw it the way it is. I have never lost a fish, I would say, due to the weed guard in any way, shape, or form.
They're soft enough that they bend out of the way.
It really is. But if you want to, it makes you feel better, yeah, go ahead and trim it. It's there for you.
Yeah.
And the other thing, a lot of people, when they do miss fish on a swim jig, it's the angler's fault. A lot of people have a misconception on how a fish bites a swim jig and when you should set the hook. A fish, if you're using proper line and proper rod and you have a sensitive rod, you will actually feel the fish take the weight off of the bait and inhale it. And most people will set the hook on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
good point.
And
Great
when
point.
you do that, you're pulling the bait out of their mouth. The proper way on a swim jig, 90% of the bites I get, you'll feel a tap or you'll feel the trailer quick kicking, and you just keep reeling, steady speed. And then all of a sudden you'll feel the pull where the fish actually turns away from you. And that's when you set the hook.
Yeah.
So when you get that tap or you feel the bait be gone, don't set the hook until the rod starts to load up.
Well, and the key thing too, it's not a hook set like when you're flipping or something like that. You're more leaning into them. You're not, I mean, you can crack it,
Right.
But to me, it's more fun just leaning into it and and then I know I'm not ripping it out of their mouth. Right.
I'm sorry, I'm the guy that I lean on them. I crack them hard.
Yeah, I don't.
But you're right. When that rod loads up and you just kind of do a side sweep like you're doing a Carolina rig hook set,
Yep.
your hookup percentages go through the roof. I don't remember the last time losing a fish on the swim jig by proper hook set.
Right. Not unless I yank it away from them. That is the only time I miss them.
Bingo. 100%.
The other thing I will say too is your swim jigs are absolute pike magnets too. That's the only time I lose your swim jigs is when them toothy little bastards come and steal them from me. So
Unfortunately, we got that problem up here, don't we? In the
we do.
Midwest, is pike and muskie, and I've caught walleye on the swim jigs. I've caught
dogfish,
catfish on the things. Dogfish.
Oh yeah, dogfish.
We definitely have a multi-species up here. That's for darn sure. Some of them like it a little bit more than others, unfortunately.
Well, and that's a lot of guys when they ask me, I'll show pictures. I don't care for pike, but, I like setting the hook on anything. They're still fun to catch. Don't really care for the slimy mess in my boat. But, I've had a few of them I've taken pictures of because they're pretty cool. And, guys will always ask me, you're a bass guy. How are you catching all these pike? And I always send them your way and say, just throw a swim jig. Same thing I tell the muskie guys. Throw some bass baits. We seem to catch plenty of them. You guys are out here hunting around for follows, and we're freaking spiking the things. But
yeah,
I think I got a couple sneak peeks. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
I will bring you up full screen here, Troy.
Well, we'll see if we can. This is another bait. This is just concept right now. This is a program, a process between myself and Dalton. We've created now, or going to be creating a finesse Bremer jig, a bladed jig. I'll hold this up to the camera here. Turn it sideways.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
Just seeing if we can get that focus in a little bit. The head's not painted yet, powder coated. I should say powder coated, not painted. I don't like the word painted, but powder coated and baked. It has This is a 4/0 hook, but it's a we call fine or standard wire 4/0 hook. The trailers that you'd use on this are one that he just happened to pull up. Zoom, Bass, hopefully Bass Pro Shop will come out with the Mans. I know Cabela's makes one as well. Just that nice straight tail. It doesn't take up very much of the hook gap. And since a patent has gone away, that is a direct connect. And it's a nice small blade. And I've been out and tried this a couple times on the river here behind my house. And I can reel this as fast as I want, fast as I can, and it won't spin out. And it just throws a ton of vibration. I was throwing it on a 7-foot medium fast action rod, which isn't typically the rod that you would throw it on. And I was throwing it on 12-pound test P-line. Used some floral clear, as a matter of fact, just because that's what I had. And still the amount of vibration that I could feel in that rod and watch that rod tip go, it was pretty darn impressive. So, keep your eyes out for that getting released. I got to get some in Dalton Sands first to get his final approval, but I think this is going to be pretty awesome. And that color that you saw is going to be the first color that this finesse tremor jig is going to be released in. And we don't have a name for it yet, but I'm sure we're going to come up with something.
And the one thing I got to say on this, this idea kind of spawned between me and Troy going back to the BFS stuff. There's a gap there in the bladed jig side of things. And the quality of TNT Tackle's tremor jigs, I can honestly say, rivals that of Z-Man. They're absolutely phenomenal. And I'm really excited to get my hands on these because, I spend a lot of time hucking around little baits on little rods with little lines. So, that's my staple.
There's a lot of littles in that statement.
Yeah, that's the story of my life.
But you're right. That's a 1/4 ounce that you saw. So, you put a 1/4 ounce. You have a nice small straight tail trailer on the back of that. It can kick a bunch of action. There shouldn't be any reason why you wouldn't be able to throw that on a medium light fast tip bait caster.
Yep.
With 10 or 12-pound test monofilament, or be able to throw that on a 6'8" to 7'1" spinning reel with 8-pound test. 8-pound test. It's going to work the same on everything, and you're going to be able to throw that in little places. Be surprised.
Right. The beauty of that, it's not just a BFS thing. There's no reason, you can't, like you said, just pick up a spinning rod and do the same thing. I just prefer to do it on the BFS stuff because I'm mildly psychotic, but it would work just as well on a good spinning setup. So,
agreed. That's definitely something that's going to be able to use on a lot of different techniques, a lot of different rods. So we're pretty excited about that.
And it works definitely as a backup behind, we fish a lot of team tournaments together.
Yeah.
It works good as a backup when I'm throwing a full-size tremor or a full-size swim jig. He's always in the back throwing a BFS one. And you always end up picking up a few key fish throwing something smaller.
And that's the thing, too, guys, got to keep in mind fishing team stuff. The guy in the back of the boat's batting cleanup. So you don't want to be throwing the exact same thing. Anything you can do to switch it up a little bit makes a big difference.
How many big fish have you guys caught on small minnows?
A lot.
The 2 3/4 inch, with the minnow heads, a lot of big fish. So
definitely,
this thing's going to catch some big fish here in the future, and I'm looking pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for it. A couple more things here real quick is we talked about colors and actually improving colors from the past. And here's another spinnerbait. This is a 1/4 ounce, but then you're going to have your blue. It's a light blue, and it's not really focusing in well enough, but you can see the sparkle. That's a chrome, a white chrome on the belly. It's a chartreuse with a chrome. There it looks like it focused. And then there's a light baby blue, right? So it's a spin-off of a color that's been used very, very well in the past. Chartreuse and blue with white, right?
Yep.
Typically, they're a little bit brighter. These are a little bit more subdued, but then again, it's got that chrome in it where you can throw that in some murky water.
Yeah.
You can throw it in clear water and allow this to come through the vegetation and twitch it, right? And it's going to attract those extra. It's going to attract those extra bites. So it's not. Again, it's enhancing those colors that we know that are proven and have worked over the years. And just doing that extra 10% different to keep them relevant, right? The fish. I don't think the fish around here, at least in the Midwest, have seen that color too often. I know there's probably some guys out there listening go, I've thrown that color for 30 years. Yep. You know, so have we. But now we're just going to make it available to the public.
Yep.
One last color I got, I know it like in the springtime, smallmouth bass. We have all three of us, we love fishing the smallmouth bass for sure. But there's a color that we've been working on for a while, and we'll release it this year. Actually, it'll probably be released this month, so keep your eyes on the webpage and Facebook is.
Ooh. Now that is a sexy color.
So see if I can get in close. There you go. See, that chartreuse is just not a plain old chartreuse. That's not. It's just your normal pink. It's got some clear skirting material in there as well. It's a different type of a swim jig head as well that I've been messing with. But I think that color right there is going to work very, very well. I'm going to call it hot truce is that color that's going to be called. But if you can put a sun gill, right, trailer on the backside of that and throw it this time of year, smallmouth are going to smash it. Absolutely, actually crazy.
You know, and it would pair really good with like a ghost perch trailer too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. So you can let your imagination run wild. I mean, back in even a couple of years ago, now it was always that, you know, tournament was won or placed very highly on pink, right? But pink has been an amazing color for many, many years.
Bubblegum.
You know, with the bubblegum color, right? So this is kind of another spin off of that, right? Which usually these colors have been tested a year plus before we bring them to the market, and we're ready to bring this one.
It's a good one.
All righty. Well, this has definitely been the longest episode we've had so far. Thank you guys for being a part of that. Before we call her at night, I'm going to throw Troy in the spotlight here and see if you would do the final cast for me tonight. You got any thoughts, any words of wisdom or anything?
You know what,
give us something.
I'm gonna say one thing that, you know, my two other brothers really they like to fish, but not as crazy nuts as like us three. And when I go out fishing, my youngest brother, and I love him dearly, he always says one thing. He goes, "Remember this, fish are dumb." And you know what? Sometimes I got to sit and giggle when we're out there fishing for 4, 5, 6 hours, 8 hours, and I'm not catching anything. And we're thinking, is it us or is it the fish? But at the end of the day, we're out there because we love it.
Yeah.
It's a passion. It's a release. But yeah, are fish dumb? Question mark. I'll leave it at that. And guys, gals, remember, you know, it's take that time with your family, your kids, your friends, your parents. Spend some time outside. Spend some time outdoors. You'll be surprised on what type of memories that you can make.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Any words of wisdom from you, Dad?
Troy pretty much covered it there, so I'll leave him with the final thought there.
All
It was
righty.
a
Well,
pleasure
thank you
being on
guys.
with you guys. Pleasure seeing you, Troy.
It's awesome, guys.
Doing a lot more work with you.
Looking forward to spend some time on the water and helping you break in that new boat, Dalton.
Yep. we'll definitely have to get you in there pretty soon here. Well, thank you
Guys,
guys very much. I greatly appreciate it. We'll definitely have some more coming, and keep an eye on Troy's website for some of the things we talked about tonight. There's always new colors, new baits popping up on there. That's TNT Tackle. I will get a link for the website in the description if anybody wants to go there. I mean, I'm telling you from my own personal experience, he's not paying me to say this. They are hands down the highest quality jigs and spinner baits you can buy.
Absolutely. I've been using them for 30 years, and
thanks, guys.
they're the best out there.
It means a lot, you know. It means a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty humble about it. I just love to be able to see you guys out there and catching fish with them. Makes me feel good.
Good deal. Well, we'll
Have a
talk
good
to
night,
everybody
all.
later. Thank you for watching the Timberline Bass Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, comment, all that normal stuff. Thank you very much for your support.